Hi everybody, it's Dave the Red Pill Coach, and I'm here talking to you about the things that we really care about. And this week, got a little bit different format, and I'm going to talk to you in an unending rant about the Me Too movement, and I'm going to talk to you about the Justice Kavanaugh confirmation. And I'm going to tell you in a way that nobody else has said. So let's get started. I think it's important to understand exactly what we're dealing with, okay? We are dealing here, folks, with something called cultural Marxists. These are communists. These are people who want to change society. Now, very briefly, let me tell you a little bit about Marx, okay? Marx had an idea. And his idea was that there were two groups of people in society that repeated throughout history, the haves and the have-nots. The haves, it could be master-slave, serf and lord, worker and owner. And he said that in a capitalist society, it turns into the workers and owners, and the workers get less and less, and the owners get more and more, and eventually, since the workers are only getting enough to reproduce themselves barely, and not to enjoy the fruits of their labor, and it's being stolen by the owners, it's righteous and good for the workers to rise up and just kill those bastards and start a new society. And they call this the dictatorship of the proletariat. The proletariat were the workers. Why am I telling you all this? What does this have to do with this channel? Well, as it turns out, it has everything to do with this channel, folks. Everything. Because this is the script that the feminists are following. Okay? The feminists are Marxists. I know that because I have a PhD. Whoop, not in feminism, but in sociology, which is the next best thing to saying I have a PhD in feminism. I learned all about feminism and all about their tactics and what their doctrine is. Folks, their doctrine is that throughout history, men and women have interacted, and men have been the oppressors, and women have been the oppressees, the people who have been oppressed. So, in other words, the bourgeois of Marx is men, all men. All men are oppressors. All men are abusers. All men. And the oppressed are women. All women. These are the proletariats. So what did Marx say should happen? Well, the proletariat, the oppressed, is going to rise up and kill these bastards who are oppressing them. And in this case, those bastards are you. They're your sons. They're your brothers. They're your fathers. Every man is the enemy of feminism because every man contributes to the patriarchy. And that's the doctrine that we're dealing with. So what is the goal of Marxism and what is the goal of feminism? It is one word. You only need one word to describe the goal. That word is power. That's what it's all about. They want to take power from the patriarchy. They want to take power from men and give it to women. That is the goal of feminism. That's what they're doing here, folks. So I looked up some of the rules of power that the feminists use, and they just jump right out at you. Law 3, conceal your intentions. This is from the book, The 48 Laws of Power. Law 3 is conceal your intentions, and boy, do they do that, as I'm going to explain. This whole attack on Kavanaugh, they are concealing it. It's not really an attack on Kavanaugh, folks. It's an attack on all men. That's right. We'll get to that in a moment. Crush your enemy totally. Law 15. Crush your enemy. It's not enough that women get 6 times the funding. They need to get 1,000,000 times the funding. There needs to be no funding for men. Only funding for women, the victims of the patriarchy. That's what feminism teaches. I love Law 17 because it's exactly what the feminists have been doing since third and fourth wave feminism. Men are to be afraid. They want men to fear looking or talking to a woman. That cold stab of fear is what feminists want men to feel. So law 17, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Oh, do they do that, folks? Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. Because when you discover that, you can manipulate a man. Well, I got news for you. The women all know a man's thumbscrew is his cock. That's it. It's that thing that squeezes it that women have, that men want, and that they use. So that's what's going on. They want more power for that almighty vagina and less power for men. You have to understand these attacks on Justice Kavanaugh in that light. And when I say AWOLT and I say all women are like that, I mean all women are like that. All women. They all support this agenda. They want power over men, and they're willing to destroy society and destroy everything in order to get it. Don't doubt me on this, folks. That's exactly what's going on. What do you think all these women's studies departments are all about? Do you know of any men's studies departments? No, there aren't any. There are women's studies departments in every college and university, as if the English department wasn't enough and the social studies department and all these other departments weren't enough. They have women's studies department, and they are busy trying to find ways to transfer power from men to women. That's what they're doing. Doing it unceasingly and not taking a break. They're doing it 24/7. Every day of the week, looking at commercials that might be offensive to women, get rid of them. Looking at posts that might be offensive to women, get rid of them. Looking at people who tell the truth about women, get rid of them. And they're all in on this game, folks. All women. And all women want power over men. So if it's all women, guess what? With millions of men in prison and not allowed to vote, if it's just all women and no men at all, they still have a majority. But it's not just all women and no men at all. It's all women and millions of simps and blue pill manginas that we're dealing with. So if it's 10% of men and 100% of women, there you got a supermajority. That's 66% of the vote right there. You see the problem that we're dealing with. Let's get into this Judge Kavanaugh. And how does this relate to the whole Me Too bull crap? Well, it's directly related, and you have to understand it in terms of a misdirection. They're not really going after Justice Kavanaugh, and he will be Justice Kavanaugh. They're going after all men with this attack. You attack the enemy's strong point, and you get the enemy to admit that, well, whatever happened was bad. Okay, this is what they did with the smallpox blankets and stealing the land from the Indians. Attack the strong point, attack manifest destiny, and turn it into something completely different. And that's what they're doing here. They're attacking a man who initiated sex, and they're getting him to deny it and saying, oh, well, I would never do that. That behavior is reprehensible. And now, a man initiating sex is reprehensible. Now, a man attempting to have sex with a woman is attempted rape. Now it's sexual assault. Do you see how they moved the bar? Do you see what they've done? I hope you do, because it jumps out to me like night and day. I can see exactly what they're doing. Now, no man can say, I touched a woman. She got in bed with me. She was drunk. I was drunk. We were rolling around. We were kissing. I touched her breasts. Then I tried to touch other areas, and she pushed my hand away. I tried again, and she pushed my hand away and screamed. So I let her go. And she left. Okay, you see how they changed it? It was no means no. You say no, and the guy lets you go, and you leave. Now, if a guy tries to have sex with you and you say no, it's now attempted rape. Now it's a sexual assault. Now you can come back 39, 40 years later and say, hey, guess what? You have to believe me because I have a vagina. And that's exactly what they're doing here, folks. That's what they're doing. The facts, as alleged by her, is that, and this is before the hearings, so we don't know what she's actually going to say. This is what's been leaked so far as of Sunday, the week before the hearings. A 15-year-old girl, went into a bedroom with two drunk guys. Was she drinking? We don't know. Are we allowed to ask that question? We don't know. One guy attempted to have sex with her. He kissed her. They were rolling around. He was fondling her and rubbing her through her clothes. She screamed. He put his hand over her mouth, no doubt believing she's a screamer. And guys, if you don't believe that happens, if you don't believe that some women are screamers, I'm very sorry for you. I really am. You're a mangina. You have no idea even how the sexes work. So, shame on you if you believe that. Yes, some girls are screamers. They scream, you cover their mouth while you're fucking them. That's what you do. Okay? That's how it works. But this girl apparently kept screaming or was squirming around. She clearly didn't want to have sex. So what does the accused do? Well, he lets her go. So he attempted sex, she said no, and he took no for an answer. And now he's an attempted rapist. You get how that works? You get how they move the bar? I really hope you do, because this is dangerous, and we need to start calling this out, folks. This is not appropriate and right. This is going to hurt all men. This is going to put the fear of initiating and spending time with women into all men. I'm the father of two boys. I don't want that for my boys. So this is what she remembers. What do you think the boys remember if this were to really happen? Well, the boys remember a 15-year-old slut who is known to sleep around, who went into the bedroom with them, who was rolling out on the bed with them. And then she lets out a little squeal. And when it became clear that she really wasn't DTF, down to fuck, when she wasn't, what happened? They let her go. She claims that she couldn't escape from the clutches of her first rapist, but somehow the second guy jumped into the bed and she was able to escape the clutches from two rapists, but not one. I mean, right off, you can tell her story is ridiculous, but the guys saw something different. The guys saw a slut who maybe wanted to have a threesome. Yes, some girls want to do that, especially when they're young sluts like that. So, that's what they tried to do. And now, 40 years later, somehow that is sexual assault. Somehow that's a crime. Balderdash. The boys will remember that they stopped trying to kiss her and stopped hugging her, let her go, and then she left in a huff because they had stopped and weren't going to play her stupid little games. But again, this fact pattern is now considered sexual assault by the transitive property. Very clever, very well done, Democrats. Thank you for helping to destroy America. Because nobody is defending this, guys. Nobody is saying what was done was normal. If you get a girl in bed who you think is down to fuck, I believe you should try. And trying to have sex with a girl involves kissing her, it involves putting your hands on her clothing, it involves touching her. And if she doesn't want to be fondled, then she can get the hell out, or she can say no. She doesn't get to come back 40 years later and say, it was an attempted rape and I was so traumatized. I can't remember a damn thing about it. I can't remember where I was. But that's not the argument. It doesn't matter. What happens if all of this is true? So what? This is called human sexual behavior, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I'll bet you I'm the first person who's told you that. So I maintain there is nothing wrong with the behavior as alleged. And I am telling you, feminists and women, knock it the fuck off. You're damaging this society. You're damaging our Constitution. You're damaging men. You're damaging your husbands, your sons, your lovers, your brothers. Stop.